the president and CEO of the World Poker Tour, Adam Pliska. Adam,
Yeah, so nice to be here with you. Thank you for coming here to Wynn Resort.
you've just been the interviewer at one of the biggest stages possible in poker on TV, and now you're coming over here. So can you tell us a little bit about what you were actually introducing?
Yeah, right now we're getting ready. We're doing the run through for the WPT Prime Championship. So we have cast members from all over. We have all of our Royal Flush Crew talent that have come in from various places, and we have both Tony and Vince and Lynn and Matt in here. So we always make sure we do a run through, make sure that those intros are really special for when the players walk out. It does make a difference on a TV show. Once you see that intro, you hear the music, is even though you might come in feeling calm, when the lights are on, it makes it feel special. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, exactly. So I know the Prime Championship is the biggest field actually for World Poker Tour, and you have people just buying in for $1,100, and now they come in. You have all these celebs there, the presenter, the music, and it's a really special experience for them, isn't it?
Yes, and someone's going home with you're going to be definitely a millionaire. 1.3 or more than that in terms of first place, and so not a bad return for these guys.
So guys, you can obviously tell that the change of intonation, Adam, that was fantastic. How you could dramatize it. I know you know what you are doing. So I would like to take us all the way back, because obviously when I look at you now and when we talk like this, you do look like the president of a big world poker tour, of a production company. But your story wasn't very straightforward, was it?
Definitely not into poker, because I was not a poker player. I had probably not gambled before 21 years ago when I came with the World Poker Tour. I was a TV producer, and I had been a lawyer immediately before. And indeed, I started the general counsel.
Is it actually true? I did my research. Have you really contributed to Baywatch and the new Lassie?
Oh yeah, yes, yeah. The number of shows I worked on. I worked with an amazing man named Al Burton, who had produced a lot of shows, and he had taken me under his wing, and he was a tremendous mentor to me.
How did you actually manage to get under his wing? Because obviously in that sphere, it's not that easy to get right away. To get mentored by someone.
I was when I was in high school, I applied at a community college to take a production class. And I didn't want to spend the $12 to go to this tribute that they were having to the producer. And so I volunteered to be an usher. And during that thing, I asked a question, and he complimented me, and I told him that I was with the school newspaper, and eventually got to his office, and he very quickly deduced I was not with the school newspaper, and I worked with him for almost 8 years afterwards, and it was really wonderful.
That's incredible. Obviously we will talk about in a bit about your journey with the World Poker Tour. You just stumble into things, It seems like that you happen on things.
No, well, your life is an adventure, and it's always changing.
Is that what the advice you would give to people, to basically take their opportunities? Because I know with the World Poker Tour, you always say that Steve basically asked you to come help with some legal stuff for 3 weeks. So what sort of philosophy would you people recommend so they take these opportunities?
It's just make sure that you go in and make sure that life is fun. I had been hired to the Senate Judiciary Committee to doing IP counsel, and which would have been very interesting. But how fascinating it is to go and somebody says, "Oh, there's a poker company. Oh, they want to bring it public." Well, the idea of bringing a poker company public didn't even exist. And once you take your basic needs and they're out of the way, life is just about the adventure that you make it. And we've really tried on World Poker Tour to hire people who are interesting people. And it makes for an interesting company, and it makes for an interesting journey.
Yeah, so obviously this your hiring policy, we'll be talking about the incredible staff retention. which, by the way, in the corporate world is unheard of, and you staying for on so long.
They say it's a cult. I don't know. Now I'm making them do Aura rings so I can, check their sleep or something. But yeah,
I never made the connection, but you started to make me think of Amway or something like that. But obviously, it's nothing similar to that, No, but you weren't the one who started the World Poker Tour, right? You're not the founder. It was obviously Steve Lipscomb. So, what do you think they saw on you? It was you mentioned Steve, Mike Sexton, and Bruno Fitoussi.
Berman,
all these great guys. You were an accomplished producer in standard television, very standard.
Sure.
You were an accomplished lawyer, general counsel. You come in for a few weeks.
Yeah.
How did it actually happen? What did they see in you that you actually continued from Steve? Because no offense, but
Well, Steve had been a lawyer as well, and so we had a lot in common, and he had become such a good friend. And we were both interested in the business aspects, so I was able to do that early on. It actually benefited me greatly that I did not come from the poker world, and it benefited me greatly that I did not have to tell someone that, I invented the World Poker Tour or whatever it was. First, it was a person that I just adored who created the World Poker Tour. And so I was very proud to not worry about trying to establish some kind of reputation as a founder. He was the founder. He did this, and he created this wonderful thing. And so I got to be a steward to manage a company during some difficult times. Sometimes it's difficult times, but but as a company grows and evolves, and there's so many ways and different directions you can take it. And I think feeling like I was so close to Steve and so appreciative of what he did, I took it quite seriously that not only to preserve the World Poker Tour so that it would grow and meet the challenges as it grew internationally, but also that we saw that there was some interesting culture that was developing here, and that was unique among corporate businesses. And so how do we grow it and keep it and nurture that so that we'll go on for 2 decades and hopefully 2 decades more? I took it quite seriously.
So now let's talk about what World Poker Tour actually is, because in all of your interviews, you correct people saying, you don't get exactly what we are.
Yes.
Yeah. So World Poker Tour, 1.25, 1.25 billion plus in prizes given out, 90 plus syndicated markets, networks globally. Your reach yearly, you said it was a few years ago, 200 million roughly plus. Has it grown since then?
It's continued to grow.
Continued to grow. Hundreds of millions.
We were probably 50 networks at the time.
50 networks, there we go.
90 now.
And it's actually one of the most aired shows globally.
Yeah, in the world,
And one thing I actually mentioned, because obviously we are from Poker Strategy, we are just online grinders, we go to the online poker sites. What you mentioned is that World Poker Tour is actually brand licensing and community activation company. What the hell does that actually mean?
Yeah. I mean, it means that the World Poker Tour needs to work with great partners, right? We are creating a brand, and our brand means something. I mean, I think you saw it if you've been watching the amount of player feedback over the last days and the result of the final numbers. The fact that the players could trust the World Poker Tour, and they felt like whatever the number was going to be, we were going to keep up to our responsibilities. In addition, that the tournaments were going to be the best we could make them, that we were going to make sure that the off-the-felt activities were very high quality. That's the brand, and that's what we're creating. But you need to have a partner here, like at Wynn Las Vegas, who also is dedicated to that quality. And we have partners all over the world that we look for, and so there's some very good businesses, but they're not necessarily cultural fit. And so I do think that what that means about being a brand licensor is that you are a trust. You are a trust of the WPT brand, and your job is to find people and partners that will be conducive to those brand values. And when we do that, we can come here and make a good partnership, or we can, work with Virgin Voyages, for the voyage that we're going to do, because all of them have a sense of we're doing things together, and so together then we can create the business.
Right, so this is important. And one thing that's very interesting, again, in the online poker world, the players, they are the customers, right? We're trying to target them, get their rake, and this is all they are, basically. You mentioned that for you see players that actually come here that play at the final table. You see them more as talent.
Oh, yeah, that's 100%. I was going to correct you, but you finished my sentence.
What do you mean by that? Because we're not used to that. We are the customers online, but what do you mean by being talent?
First of all, if you're looking at our business model, the lowest margin business is going to be the tournament itself, right? Because you have to move hundreds of people and things, and you can scale as large as a tournament, but you can't have them everywhere. You can do different things online, or you can do things with content that you can't. But this is the heart of what we do, right? And there are millions of people watching you as players, right? There are millions of people who are going to watch this TV show. So they're your customers, right? They're the customers that you're asking to borrow some of their mental real estate to think about poker. So we need you to come to a WPT event and say, I like being here. I want to show up. Because our audience is watching you. They're watching online, they're watching on social, they're watching on television. And so our job, just like any good TV show, I was in scripted TV for a long time, is you got to create a world where the talent feels like they want to be there. Because if you want a recipe for a disaster, create a show where the talent does not want to be there. It doesn't matter what lines you feed them or what director, it'll come off badly. And so when players come, if we can create the best environment possible, the audience feels it, everyone feels it, the community feels it. And so this is why I do call players talent. I mean, to us, it is our job to say, are they happy?
Yeah, exactly. And I think I must say for online players, it's very unusual to hear, because we are the usually end customer that the online sites are trying to take advantage of. This is absolutely fantastic, Right, let's talk about the World Championship Festival. Obviously, we talked about your longevity. We talked about the players being the actual talent. Now it's basically a continuation, just bigger, better, stronger version of the 2022 version.
Yeah.
How did that come to be that you decided, let's make the World Championship this huge event with the Wynn Hotel and Casino?
Yeah, so this has been years in the making. So as you know, the World Poker Tour has had various investors and owners over the years. And we, fortunately, the last time we were able to go private again, and we had investors who truly were interested, who love poker. They love this community, they love what it meant. And so we were able to kind of reflect, which we do every few years, and say, if we had it any way that we wanted, what would we do of the World Poker? What would we fix? What would be better? And obviously having a large tournament where players could experience all the World Poker Tour in mass numbers, and in addition, have ways to win. I mean, the World Poker Tour never really had large qualifiers. I mean, we'd have 50 or so, but we never had 1,000 qualifiers from all over the world, right? Now you're having, we're creating a reunion space here, for the winter, and people are coming in all over. I mean, we have now so many signups of people who are trying to, work with our marketing team to promote packages for the next year. Well, that was a dream. Even 5 years ago, that was a dream. And so to do that and to be able to have a culmination of many stops in one location like this, and have all of our players, casino partners working together, is ideal for us. Yeah.
How did you arrive at the Wynn specifically? Because there's so many, obviously, locations all around the world. In Vegas, on the Strip, so many hotels.
Well,
how did it come to be?
I'm not the only one, but I have been a very big fan here at the Wynn. I've stayed here and known people here since since the Wynn was built. John Stremp used to be the chief administrative officer here, big poker champion. And as you know, you don't always find executives at the top levels who are poker champions, right? Poker is kind of seen as a thing that we have to do. But he was, and the team here is, they're truly devoted to it, and what they project in their desire for excellence. If you were here last year, you saw Wynn came out, and she addressed the ladies championship, and she was talking about the early days and what they were trying to go for, and that dedication to excellence runs through this entire company. So if you're trying to elevate and you're trying to be the best, I could not think of a better place to be.
So you chose the Wynn, and obviously they've taken you on board. It's a multi-year contract.
Yes.
And
I'd like to say that we chose each other.
you chose each other. Yeah, it's like
you go to a dance and you look at each other and you wave and you know.
We could work together.
You wink
Why
a
not?
little bit. Yeah.
Why not? And obviously it's worked out great. I know Ryan Beauregard. He has seen how much of a success last year has been.
Yeah.
And now they have been preparing for a full year to try to get it ready. So now we're obviously nearing the end.
I just wanted to stop for a second. This guy, Ryan Beauregard, is just such an asset to the poker community. I mean, he worked daily with Angelica Hale on my staff, who's also done such an incredible job. But here is a guy who is so dedicated to making sure every detail is perfect. There was not a day you've not seen him in the morning and you don't see him at night. He's here all of the time. I think he's told me next week he's taking a few days off. But he really has done a lot. And he's a modest guy, but he is a great asset, not only for us and this organization, but really, truly for the poker community.
Hey guys, if you don't know what Ryan Beauregard is, we're putting a picture up here. He's basically, people joke in New York, you see Moripovich everywhere, but here at the tournament, I bumped into him like 10 times. He's always pacing back and forth, always doing something. Yeah, so obviously he's taking care of this. Do you think he does this for the love of poker, or just because he's such a strong professional?
Oh, he loves poker, but this is a man who truly cares about people, and it shows. I mean, he is. You will find a lot of times where people will talk about doing a great job or making sure that things are well, but are they willing to roll up their sleeves and do the thing? I mean, this guy is just nonstop. He's not. No one's ever told him that he can take a break. He keeps going. So no, I think that he really cares, and he cares about the industry. He believes it. He's had. He's had experience in the early days in Asia, and building that out here and coming out. He's a remarkable human being.
There we go. So we have the venue. Obviously, have a bunch of experience. Last year went really well. So let's talk about the thing everyone was asking about, the big stretch goal.
Yes.
$40 million. And I've talked to your staff. They told me even before your competitors, I know you don't like to talk about them as competitors, the people in the industry, announced their tournaments in the Bahamas and EPT. You had way before them. So where did the $40 million actually come from?
Well, it came from a discussion that I had with a number of investors. I was on a trip in February of last year, and I came with a number of things of what could we do to get the attention of the player, not the attention, but to elevate. I had this big challenge. We had a freakishly good first year, right?
Exceeded expectations.
Yes, you tell people about it.
Busted.
And I am always the person who is so worried that the shoe is going to drop. And sometimes when you raise expectations that high, the next year, even if it is level, will feel like it is disappointing. So, our team was challenged with how do we make sure that what is going to move the needle, basically, to players. And that was it. And our investors in our company decided nothing would do it more than putting a flag down and saying we're truly committed to it. And we're truly committed to putting $40 million into the prize pool. I've been saying since we announced we could lose a few $1 million. It could happen. Now, I think a number of people thought that I was, doing a PR type of thing.
I thought as well, by the way, because with the amazing atmosphere here, with the buzz around it, the online qualifiers, at the start of the festival, I was like, no way, we will not reach the guarantee.
I mean, I was worried, and we're bulging at the seams in terms of space as well, right? So you have to accommodate space. We had to create the extra day, and so we put that in there. We were $2.4 million short of this, but we were 30% higher over last year.
30% more entries. Yeah.
If we would have said, next year we are going to be 25% over last year, people would have said, that's fantastic, you're doing a great job. But that's not our gift to the poker community. Our gift is to take a big, bold risk and to say, no, we're just going to do that. And if it falls on us, it falls on us. We had a number of factors, but we had a tremendous amount of support here. Not only was the prime 10,500 plus, you had this huge surge from, it's 30% surge, and I think people might have been surprised that I was okay with it, but I'm okay. It did exactly what we wanted to do, establish that we are serious about building this event. Now, if player numbers had decreased or something, but if they'd not gone up in that way, I would have been concerned. But I'm delighted. I have been reading. I want everyone to know I've been reading all of the support that we've been getting online, and it means far more than $2.4 million. I assure you, it's everything that we want.
Right. Okay. So in terms of the support, and you always mention this, is something called the World Poker Tour Atmosphere. What is that, and what does that mean to you? And what is your goal in actually achieving there?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the atmosphere, it's two things. First, the atmosphere for the players is that I want players to feel respected. I want them to feel like we have listened to them. If players come and they see any of my staff looking down on their phones, it's not that because they're just looking at emails. We have group threads where we're taking player feedback every single day. I probably put 15 things in a day where I'm just dumping in notes that players have told me, and everybody else is doing the same. We then go back, which we'll take a little break next week, and then as we go into January, this will become a debriefing brief that's probably about 150 pages. And we will analyze all of those things. That atmosphere for players to feel they're being heard, they're not just being marketed to, is what we want for that player, so that they can essentially come here and feel like they're being treated like professionals and they're going to have the best experiences possible. Internally, I also want our staff to feel valued, and I want them to feel important. I have the pleasure of being able to work with really smart people who care about this, and that means you have to create an environment where people are decent to each other and respect each other. And you hear a lot people talking about the WPT family. It's repeated over and over again. But what I will say is it's not your typical description of people go, I'm the blank corporation family. That is usually a marketing gimmick to say that we're working together on a project. We always say we are really a family, meaning we don't mind mistakes. We air our dirty laundry. We come out and we actually take pride when we're like, oh, I went out there and I thought we were going to do this and we failed so bad, because we're very open and transparent with each other. And we get our frustrations out, and there are battles back and forth. And Matt, for example, who's a great advocate for the players internally, will be pushing back on something that we're going to do. But there's always this sense of respect and adornment to within the group, and I think it's very important to create that if you truly want to create a company that's going to last.
Yeah, okay. I want to ask about this longevity. You mentioned obviously your structure, your corporate structure has changed multiple times. You yourself mentioned that the average CEO lasts 3.5 years.
Yeah. Why am I here so long? Yes.
How are you here? And if you look at your executive team, I think over half of them are here from at least 2014. A lot of them 2005.
Yeah.
How the hell is this possible? I'm sorry, but in the corporate world, when you change ownership, usually they bring them their own people.
Yeah.
What is it about the culture and the package, and you yourself personally, that you convince the people that do come in to leave you the hell alone and come to continue doing what you're doing?
Well, first of all, I think of any investor we ever had as a true partner. I mean, you have to be a partner. And because I was a lawyer and I was always part of the sale process as well, I understood that the potential when you're looking at a business, it's an education process. And the mistake that people make is oftentimes when they're selling a business, they're just thinking of the value, right? They're just thinking, what multiple can I get?
Yes.
And so they'll say anything. They'll say anything to make it sound like it's a great thing. And then an investor takes it and they go, well, I want to do this. And then the people here go, yeah, but we kind of want to do this. And then you have to get rid of people or whatever. So what I have learned over time, it doesn't matter what it is, transparency. When a potential investor comes in, you spend a lot of time with them and you educate them. And you educate them of why things are the way they are and how the culture works. And if something's going to change, what it would take to change. So that they come in as an educated investor, which means that you actually weed out a lot of potential. People come in and they think, oh, I'm going to do this, and then they realize, oh, well, that's not exactly what I thought. When you do find the investor that you want, they understand the company, and they also understand we don't want to disturb the magic, right? Because the culture is, let's just say that the company works 40% better simply because these diverse people get along so well.
Yes.
Well, if we had any asset that had a 40% increase on it by buying a machine or something, we'd buy that machine in 2 seconds. And so I think most investors do that. And they're also educated of what we need that can help us achieve things that we can't currently do. And that's the situation now. And that's why we've been able to work with online partners and have WPT Global send people, and why we've been able to make large guarantees and take risks and have great ambassadors that we do, because the vision is there and we're aligned.
Right, so obviously you are confident. You have been here for a long time, and because of your approach, you're confident you will be here for a long time. I think one of the reasons for this, if you were here just for the short run, and you had a 2.4 million miss on a guarantee,
you'd be,
you have to do a quarterly report.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I always said if you, in public companies, you get a very different public company if you required people to hold their shares for 24 months instead of 0.
Yeah.
Right? Because
that's not how it works, though, unfortunately.
Yeah, what happens, when you're in a company and every quarter you're worrying about these things, you make very dumb decisions. You make decisions, for your own household. If you made decisions only on a month-to-month basis and you didn't think about what you want for a year ahead or 5 years, you'd make very different decisions. But nobody in their own household would make only 30 days ahead. They would just be asinine to do that. Why corporations do it, I have no idea. If you want that corporation to last, and of course, you will extract a far more value by being a company that's sustained and is going on. And we're like a 21-year-old startup who's 21 years later, we're on our biggest rise. It
is like with the startups. A lot of Silicon Valley startup companies, they actually count on this. Amazon counted on this. They started with, okay, listen, we're not going to make much profit now. We will make it later. So you can have that long run mentality. That's why the 2.4 million is not that big a deal. And I think the community can feel this, because there was not a single person, when you check your comments on the Twitter under your post, nobody actually doubted, had a share in their mind, that 2.4 million, the second biggest overlay in poker history, by the way, No, a single person actually thought, oh my God, they're not going to pay out. So you did pay out.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the partners. Obviously, we come from an online poker teaching site. How important it is, and I know this is all basically a revolution in the industry. So many qualifiers are coming in. Club WPT, WPT Global.
Yes.
Where did this idea come from, and why is it so important that the marriage finally comes, where the separate worlds are coming together?
Yeah,
what are you doing about it?
I mean, the World Poker Tour certainly didn't invent the concept of qualifiers, but we were probably on the other end where we're like, we would like some, over time. But we've had a successful business with Club WPT Social, in the U.S. for a while, and they're wonderful. Those members are so dedicated. But education sites are great, right? Because you can have true partnerships with it. The people as they're educating people how to play poker, and and then to feel like it has a natural progression and it can come out and people can play right here. These partners, we had so many partners, casinos sending people from all over the world. I don't know if you saw the Taiwanese contingent, but they sent an enormous amount of players here. It is so important. I think this year you had so much more international players, which I loved. I loved that aspect of it.
Why is that? Obviously, I spoke to many at the party that you actually hosted. There was in the corner. I tried to get the people that weren't really engaged, and there was actually a qualifier from Japan, from Club WPT, came over, just enjoyed the scenery at the party. From Poker Strategy, there were like 6 guys from Hungary coming in en masse. Yesterday I introduced some French guys that they were here last year. One of them was here last year. Now they multiplied. There were 5, so 5 came in. Why, from a business model, why is it important for, obviously it's World Poker Tour, but to attract the international talent, as you call the players?
Yeah. Oh, it's the international talent is, it's crucial because you really want to feel, first of all, it's absolutely fun, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you do need to be in an environment where you feel it's dynamic and you're playing your best, and you'll never feel like you're truly able to play at the top, at your best place, unless you feel like it is a truly world stage, right? And this international boom, people used to ask me in interviews, when they would say when the poker boom ended, and I would say, well, the poker boom never ended. It went to Europe, and then it went to Asia, and now it's in Latin America, and it's just and each one of these booms increased the quality of play and increased the content. I mean, the great content that we get in the interest, because our biggest battle is for the hearts and minds of players. We see competitors all the time, and people say, "Oh, it's a competitor." But if you just look at the numbers, the biggest battle is to remind people they actually like to play the game. Because let's remember, they can do a million other things with their time. And when you have international qualifiers, that means that there was a base of people promoting that all over the place. And that means the ecology is healthy, and we're going to be able to have large events like this for a very, very long time. I mean, it is probably the best indicator of the health of the poker ecology.
I must say, in the championship, there's so much excitement around the qualifiers. They come in, they pick up the WPT Global backpack, and they proudly paraded at the tables. They're so glad they're here. That also brings me to one of the tournaments that you actually bagged. I know I spoke to one of the players that it used to be at the World Series of Poker, and that is the one drop. So how did you manage to actually get the big one for the one drop, and how important it is for the World Poker Tour?
Well, first of all, it's important to us because it's aligned. The WPT Foundation, years ago we realized we have a very large stage because of our television distribution, our talent, the WPT brand, and by marrying that with poker, we've been able to raise a lot of money over time, over $50 million. We've worked with various charities. But One Drop, was one of those charities that caught the imagination of poker players, as in a very big way. And it's so important. I mean, it is. What I love about One Drop is when you hear the introduction about when Alex Meunier comes and explains when you play, he doesn't put it in general terms. He literally will tell you how many people lives you just changed by your buy-in. And it is important in poker because you want to be grateful in life. I mean, it is a privilege that we're able to come out and play in large tournaments. And it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're playing in a $600 tournament. It's a privilege to be able to do that. And to be able to reflect and be grateful is great. Now, in addition, $1 million buy-in still captures the hearts and minds. We're going to have the TV show here in a couple days, and it still captures the imagination of people, just like $10,000 events did 20 years ago.
Yeah, I actually spoke to one of the organizers of the One Drop, and they told me that after World Series of Poker, their partnership for whatever reasons fell through. Yeah. So I was asking, how did you decide to go to the World Poker Tour? And they told me, what do you mean? There's no other option. This is like the by far the only option for us. Another thing I want to say, actually, with the qualifiers and people that are playing the smaller tournaments, the One Drop is played in the ballroom at the Wynn, and basically everyone is together. And a lot of the things that the international people were telling me about the excitement is that, oh my God, I played a 3K, and there's 5 meters from me is Phil Ivey trying to stack Martin Caberhel, They're playing for 1 million, and they're basically battling it out for that, So
it's an amazing environment to walk into that room. I mean, the other thing is when you're looking out in that field and you see so many faces that you recognize, and because it's a large room, and you realize, boy, this has been an incredible industry and some of the greatest players. But yes, when you look over there, it is always amazed me, because at the beginning when we did Alpha 8 events, I would think, oh my gosh, these are going to be the loudest, the most loud and frenetic kind of tournaments, because the prize money. But it's eerie concentration and almost calm, at some times. I mean, you can see the seriousness to it, but you have to be able to watch that is phenomenal.
Yeah, and they basically interject like this. It's absolutely fantastic. Right, our time is nearing to the end, Adam. One thing that my editor, Barry Carter, you spoke to him, you did an interview with him, and one thing that he warned me that I'm going to hear a lot of corporate talk, obviously. I know you have to analyze your data. What are your plans for 2024? How are you going to even elevate? Because where do you go from here, We are at 40 million, absolutely amazing festival.
Well, you need to, we will take all of the data, and we're going to look at this, but we will have exactly the same model as that we had last year, except we won't be looking at year one. We will be saying, how do we add more value? How do we get this level of support that we got for players? What do you do? One of the exercises that I did last year is I said to my team, and we made everyone do it, write a press release that the event was so successful, and tell us what happened in the event that made it successful.
All your stuff, how many people is that?
And we had, Vince did it, everybody, and we had great ideas. We had great ideas. So we have a lot of people who have terrific ideas. We now probably have more ideas. It's going to take us 40 years to get through. That is how we want to approach it. We will do the same thing. We will say, I probably will give the same assignment. Next year, pretend that we've created it, that the headline says, year 3 totally eclipses year 2 of the, well, what does that mean?
Who even remembers the 2023?
Yeah. And you know what, I got to tell you, it makes for a much more enjoyable career.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so guys, I knew it. We wouldn't hear the specifics. Of course, Barry was right.
No, you're not going to. I mean, I wish. It's not that I'm hiding them. It's that they need to go into a pool, and this is when we're at our best, because we argue and we discuss and we give different opinions, and inevitably someone out of left field is going to mention something that we're all going to stop and go, That's a brilliant idea. Yeah, but I'm gonna give the staff a couple weeks to just take a breath. I do think processing and just being able to reflect on what happens important, and then we're back at it just in the second week of January.
Awesome, Adam. So one last thing, poker strategies that are looking, what would you tell to the online grinders that probably never even play live poker, play it only sometimes, to give World Poker Tour a shot, maybe go to World Poker Tour Global and try to go to the qualifiers. What should they do?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I mean, WPT Global is the primary place where you're going to get, there's a lot of people here that came in and were able to live that experience, or Club WPT. We've made it so that there's many places that you can get on the, you can join the train, basically. But what I would say to somebody who's coming out there is, come on, find a place that you're comfortable with, and come through the experience, the whole experience through the year, play at a WPT event, and then come on out to the championship and feel not only like you have a chance, like someone's about to become a millionaire out there, understand that you deserve to be a part of this poker community, and come out here and feel welcome. And no matter if you're you're doing well or you're just a beginner, feel what it's like to become a part of this great dynamic and this poker community. That's what we want.
Exactly as Adam said, feel like talent, not like a customer. I think that's the biggest distinction. Thank you so much, Adam, for your time.
That was very nice. Thank you.
Thank you very much.